Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Players Take, episode 215. I'm your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host, Montrell Rice. Montrell, how are you this week?
I'm okay. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Just getting through another week of work. And we got a 3-day weekend this weekend, or at least I do. I think you do too, right? You got Monday off?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Oh wait, this
Um,
Monday? I don't have this Monday off. I don't think.
do you have tomorrow off? It's
I
Easter
don't
this
think
weekend.
so. Yeah, I don't think so. I think we're at work tomorrow.
Man, nah, bro. Man, you get screwed like that, man. Yeah, we're off Monday, so
Okay.
I am
Yeah.
excited
No, I
about
think
that.
we come to work on Monday. I'll ask tomorrow. I know I got to definitely go to work tomorrow, but I think Monday I have to go to.
Well, I hope not.
That's interesting. Yeah, because certain stuff is open on Monday, so I don't know.
Well, Sunday's Easter, so
Okay.
usually companies will give either Friday or Monday off. Mine's giving Monday, so that's what we're getting. But yeah, things are good though. Playing a lot of games. Got a lot of games to talk about this week, so excited to do that. Have not played a lot of multiplayer stuff again this week. We played. I guess we'll save that for the games we're playing section, but um did get some board gaming in this weekend though. That was fun. He came over to play Osworn, that game I talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we did
Uh,
definitely need to hurry up and you definitely need to do a board night again so we can go play that shit again. That was
oh, you
really fun.
chomping at the bit? You like that game?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, man. No, it's cool, isn't it? It's very narrative driven, but the combat is pretty fun too.
Yeah.
We actually did really well in this encounter, though. The first one, man, we almost died. This one, we kind of had it on lock. Actually, we kind of wrecked it, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, it was pretty good. But it is a fun game. If you're into board games, you should check it out. Okay, well, let me get into the rigmarole here. So, for those of you who haven't listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us questions, you can do so on Twitter at The Players Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com, and we will talk about it on the show, answer your question on the show. So please send us questions. We love getting those. And Montreal, so there's a couple of games I wanted to talk about before we got into the whole run of show.
Yeah.
One of them I know you were interested in for sure, and the other one I vaguely was aware of, and then it kind of it got in my face yesterday, and I started looking at it, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is happening soon. The first one is Honkai Star Rail. So this is from HoYoverse. This is a company that makes Genshin Impact, which obviously, as you guys are aware, I've played plenty of Genshin Impact. So I am a fan of their work, but this game is a sci-fi turn-based RPG rather than an action RPG. But it looks similar in styling to Genshin Impact, and it is coming out on PC and mobile on April 26th. There was some recent gameplay. They did like a whole stream for this game late last month in March, and I have not watched the stream. I just watched a few little gameplay videos, but I'm going to be honest, the game looks intriguing, and it is catching me in a moment of downwardness, I guess. I don't know how to say this. A downward portion of interest with Genshin Impact right now, where I actually haven't played Genshin for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days probably. Like I literally
Yeah.
haven't even logged into it to do anything. So I'm kind of I'm kind of thinking I might check this out. Are you looking at it at all? Have you heard of this game?
Yeah, I
Um,
heard of it. I saw
okay.
it when it was first announced. I'm not really too interested in it because it's turn based. Um, Not because it's turn based, but because I know it's almost like that Marvel game that came out. There are a lot of turn based RPGs, like free to play
Hmm.
RPGs out there.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it's gonna be kind of the same structure, but like with more story driven stuff and everything, but probably the same models as some of these turn based RPGs.
I
Um,
want to see though. I'm curious because it looks like it's an open world game, but you
Mhm.
fight like, it's like almost like an old school JRPG, like the old Final Fantasy games or like Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna be I'm probably gonna check it out because I'm gonna be curious to see how it's different from Genshin Impact. Um, because I think right now is like I want something different from them. If this were to be vastly different from Genshin Impact, I might actually pick it up because I think I'm a little burnt out on Genshin right now.
Mhm.
Um, the game's very grindy and just it's I mean I love it for those reasons, but it's they don't do drastic things with that game most of the time. It's a very um they're really safe with the way they develop the game. Like they don't change things up majorly very often. The biggest thing that's ever happened was the introduction of the Dendro element, which they did that last year in August. So, and that was a big deal for the game. That like transformed the way the game played in a lot of ways. Uh, well, I guess more what I'm talking about is like kind of changing the core elements of gameplay. They don't tend to introduce major new systems very often for the game. So it's gotten kind of almost like cookie cutter, in the way they make the game. And I think it's like just wearing out a little bit. So it'll be interesting to try this one and see. I'm not even sure. I'm not guaranteed I'm even going to try it, to be honest with you, but I'm curious based on what I've seen of it, and it's like I said, coming April 26th. It is not coming to PS5 right away. It is in development, but I would expect it within a few months of the game coming out, probably. But it will not be there immediately. So, but I will say the most fun time I had with Genshin Impact was the beginning of it. Was really learning the game and discovering the game for the first time, and
Mhm.
I think that's what appeals to me about this is jumping into this at launch and just learning the game. Those first like that first like month or two of playing is tends to be the most fun period of time for these games because you don't know everything. The game's not figured out yet. There isn't like a fucking meta, all that stuff. Once that stuff starts to develop, the game becomes a lot less interesting, or games tend to become a lot less interesting for me. So
Yeah.
um, it may be a thing where I quickly dip in, play it at launch, and dip out. I don't know. We'll see. Um, but yeah, I don't know. You said you're not really interested. I mean, there's no co-op to it or anything, so it's not like we could play together, really. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna pass on this one. Just because I know how sometimes how grindy those JRPG free to play JRPGs can get.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
I'm probably it looks really cool though. If it was a regular game, I'd definitely buy it. But since it's a free
hmm
to play game, I'm probably gonna avoid it.
yeah,
Unless they have like unless the game is like Genshin where you can probably play the game without buying anything. You can play the
yeah,
main story rather, the main content without buying the game.
yeah, yeah. I think that's probably going to be the case. That's worked really well for them with Genshin. Um, and I think that's fine. Like I don't that's a probably going to ultimately be a good thing, but there is a situation that developed with Genshin Impact though where they don't make difficult content for that game as a result of that, and it is kind of frustrating to play it where you're like basically almost never challenged,
Mhm.
in the game. So I don't want that same kind of meta or whatever you want to call it to develop for something like this, but we'll see what they decide to do with it. But they have become a crazy successful company though, HoYoverse. They're very interesting to me at this point. Kind of watching them develop has been intriguing to say the least. So, but I kind of want to see them go outside of the gotcha realm, though. Unfortunately, this is another gotcha game, which I mean is okay, but I'd love to see them just make a normal game, and what that would look like. Um, because they're clearly very talented developers, and they're really good at making like a solid game that feels fun to play.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of interesting to see what they can make in the single player realm, but I doubt they're gonna do that given how much money they fucking make on on these games. So the other game I wanted to talk about though was Blue Protocol. So there's been some new footage of this game recently, and this was an MMO. This is an MMO that was shown a couple times, but most recently was during a state of play, I believe, of Sony's. And you had expressed interest in this one. Um, have you checked this gameplay out at all?
Yeah, I remember we were talking about it maybe off mic, and you thought it was gonna be like another Genshin Impact, and I told you I was like, I don't think this is gonna be a Genshin Impact. I think this is gonna be
Yeah.
a full blown MMO, and
Yeah.
it is. They had the link that you see showed me. I already watched it. It's like a 30-player fucking raid or some shit
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be more so of a. I don't know if you remember. Well, you probably remember this game, but a lot of viewers probably didn't play it. But it was on, I think it was Nexon's old game called Dragon Quest or not Dragon Quest, but Dragon. Fuck! It was a instance based MMO that had action elements and everything, and it was really fun. You
Hmm.
can bounce characters off walls and stuff like Dragon Nest. That's what it's called. And
Mm. Okay.
it looks like they're actually Nexon is bringing Dragon Nest back as well. But this is what Blue Protocol reminded me of, but just open world. I don't really get Monster Hunter vibes from it. I just get Dragon Nest, like old
Yeah.
school
Yeah.
action MMO style, but with a little bit more flair, almost a little bit of like Tales. If Tales was a JRP, if Tales was an MMO type,
Yeah.
that's what the
Yeah.
style reminds me of. Or the art style rather reminds me of. Um, and yeah, it also reminds me of like Terra, like the old
Mm.
Terra,
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
Terra going to new before it got shut down. So it
Right.
reminds me like if this was like Terra 2.0 in anime form,
Hmm.
as well. So yeah, if y'all ever played Dragon Nest or anything like that way back in the day, um, it's more so open world version of that. And yeah, I mean the classes look okay. I'm not sure if it's gonna be free to play or a subscription based. I really don't mind free to plays in MMOs, as long as they
Yeah.
have like a subscription based model where you can get everything and everything is kind of unlocked to you if you pay a monthly fee or like $10 or $11 or whatever the fuck. And
Hmm.
I'll do that. I gotta see a little bit more though, because I'm really curious to like how. I mean, we saw a 30 person raid, but I haven't really looked and saw like
What is
standard
normal?
dungeons.
Yeah.
How
What is a normal
yeah.
game? What does normal gameplay look like? Yeah.
Yeah, because like the tanks look like they have legitimacy. They can block really high end attacks and stuff like that, while doing combos and everything. Draw aggro and everything like that. I mean, you got your DPS and your healers and your spellcasters and stuff like that. But traditionally, like action games, like tanks never really worked for some reason. Even in like Monster Hunter, you can make a tank build, but that's like and you can actually make a taunt build, like a taunt tank build for your character, but that's like you have to go out your way to do that. There's not a dedicated person or a class in Monster Hunter for that. So
Right.
I'm interested
Right.
in see how action game's gonna do it, or action MMO is gonna do it because yeah, I mean that I think that would be cool if they can do something like that. Also, if you guys play Fantasy Star, that's another good comparison. It reminds me of Fantasy Star Universe
Mm.
as well.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, I think it looks
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, looking at it, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what I take out of it too much. It looks kind of chaotic, which is fine. I mean, it's not like MMOs can be very chaotic. But I don't know if the like animations and hit markers and stuff like feel like they're there yet. It looks a little like rough in that regard.
Yeah,
And
I'm not a real big fan of this 30-person raid. I think when I'm watching gameplay of them fighting like one enemy or something like that, the enemy seems
yeah,
to be very responsive towards the hits, and like
okay,
you can knock
yeah,
them up in the air, do combos and stuff like that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
um, I am curious to see um how people do that in like regular gameplay. I think that's what they need to show. This was a little bit too extreme on one side, and then it's like they're
yeah.
not showing extreme. They're doing too little on the other side. I need to see point to point like level 20 gameplay or something like that, or level 15 gameplay or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, right,
So
right. Yeah, I'm sure they're trying to entice people, but yeah, I don't. It's kind of hard to even keep track of what's going on at certain points in this video. Like,
yeah,
you like lose track of the character that's even on screen that the person's controlling. Um, but yeah, I mean the art style looks cool though. I mean it looks like they've got their game systems down. It's just like the kind of fundamentals need a little work. I mean, this game's not out yet. This is like a pre-release video, so
Yeah, yeah.
they have time to fix this stuff and get it more polished. But I guess we'll see when it comes out. But I don't think it has a release date yet. I think it's still just tentatively like this year. So um, we'll see. But I wanted to talk about it though because I mean it was kind of notable new video. There was a little bit of buzz about it out there. Um, so yeah, looks pretty good. All right. Well, let's jump into what we've been playing. Do you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. Yeah, I have a lot on my list. I'm not playing all of these actively, but I do want to touch on a few of them. So, no League this week. I haven't played League in a while. Actually, it's probably been 2 or 3 weeks since I played. And then the only multiplayer thing I played was Apex on Friday. Um, with you and one of your friends, Mark, and we had a good session. I felt like it was.
Hmm.
Honestly, it's the most fun I've had playing Apex in a long time. I had a really fun time. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it a lot. It was yeah.
yeah. No, I don't know what it is. I don't. I just think with Apex we have two different play styles as far as our friend group goes. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And when we played with Mark, like we said other day, like he was flanking and then we were flanking when he was firing and all this other stuff like that. I mean it was just a good time. Like
Yeah.
we were pushing and sometimes he'll push a little bit too much, but that's just his play style. He's aggressive. I mean he's like a plat one or almost fucking diamond player. Um
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean like I learned a lot from him and everything, and that's how I pushed myself just from playing a couple of games with him. I pushed myself all the way to gold one to plat four before the split happened. Just playing solos and stuff like that because a lot of players they move towards the gunfire actually after we loot for like the first 10 minutes of the game or whatever.
Yeah.
And I also do notice. I mean, we were playing with PC people um when Mark was playing, so I don't know if it was. I don't know because when I'm playing with our other group of friends, and they're primarily PC as well. Um, the lobbies seem a lot more harder, and they seem a lot more chaotic.
Yeah.
Whereas when it was just me, you, and Mark playing, and Mark is higher level than us, um, so we were getting higher level players. But and we were still on PC because you were playing on PC.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
we weren't getting as many chaotic battles, so I don't know what's
Are we
the
in low elo
difference.
hell in Apex? Is that what it is? You think that's what it is?
Maybe we're in some kind of like what's the
Weird
word like
MMR jail, like
yeah like some kind of like maybe we're in the area where every all the Smurfs are at, like they're pushing
yeah.
through that area and we're like stuck in that tunnel right there, but they're pushing through
Yeah,
that
we
tunnel
keep
and
getting
everything.
knocked down. Yeah, right.
Yeah, because
Because yeah,
I don't.
you
I'm
go ahead.
sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. When I'm playing with like Jet and Brad, um, I don't know. It just seems like our games are like really fucking chaotic. Like no matter what we do, people beam the fuck out of us.
Yeah.
And then when we were playing with Mark, I was expecting that type of play. Um, but nah, we were pushing through. We were fighting gold players and plat players because the MMR goes out the highest tier player. So we were fighting like plat one or plat four. Or I think he was like plat three at the time. So we were fighting like plat three, plat four, gold one, gold two players. So I don't know. I've heard that once you push out of that tier, that gold tier, it gets a little bit easier again before you hit
Yeah.
diamond again, and then that's when
Yeah.
it starts getting a little bit more chaotic. I guess because you're playing like actual players, you're not playing Smurfs or whatever.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. I do notice that. So, but I also noticed like, uh, we still play less aggressive, even though both our parties have been trying to get more aggressive. We still play as less aggressive as that.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes, like, yeah, I just want to fight. Sometimes, like, I
Yeah.
understand it's ranked and everything, and we loot up for the first 5 minutes and that's cool. But I think after we loot up for the first 5 minutes, it's like now we need to go push and find teams that are fighting at each other and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I
And
think I think I think it's like so when we were playing with Mark, I noticed a lot of things actually. It kind of was like it was kind of an eye-opening session for me because Do you remember the last time I played Wraith? Before Friday.
No.
Right. There's a reason for that. I realized it very quickly playing with him. Is that did you notice that I was using my ultimate a lot and like moving around and maneuvering us around and shit? Like I was
Yeah.
actually playing Wraith, you know? Like
Yeah.
um
Yep.
there's when I play with the rest of our friends, I never use that shit with Wraith because we don't play in a way where it's useful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The characters, like that's a reason why I switched off of her, because I have no reason to use her portals the way we play.
Yeah.
And the way you, me, and Mark were playing, like there were a lot of times where I used the portal to get us out of a situation or move us in a direction, and it worked a lot of the time. There was a game where we were in the middle of fucking Olympus, like at lab, and we had like 5 teams fighting us all around us. You got knocked, and I fucking portaled in, and you guys, like I saved you guys, like you guys came through my portal, and Mark got you up.
Yeah.
And we ended up winning that game, you know, like I don't do that when we're playing with our other friends. Like it just doesn't happen because we don't get into those situations. Like we're not putting ourselves in the fray like that, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not like we weren't being stupid in that game. You got isolated though. You did get isolated and you got knocked, and like that probably was a mistake, but I was able to, like, we were able to recover, right? From the party we had, right? Because you Mark was playing Bloodhound, I was Wraith, and you were Lifeline. We had a really good balanced team, you know.
Yeah.
So it worked out really well, and I think like that's why I enjoyed the session, like because we were balanced the whole time. We stayed on those characters pretty much the whole time. The team was balanced, and I just felt like we were moving in a smart way. Like we were taking fights the right way a lot of the time. We didn't win, like we only won 2 games. It wasn't like a crazy. We weren't like constantly
But we
winning,
were
but
still getting high,
yes. And I
and we
felt like
were
we had a
fighting.
chance every fight. Like I didn't feel like we were just
Yeah.
running in and dying. And I get what you're saying about like sometimes it feels like people just laser beam you, and that wasn't happening as much. But I think it's also that we were just taking fights smarter. We were attacking from advantageous positions a lot more often than we usually do.
Yeah.
What we usually do is we will go avoid teams until we have no choice but to fight, and then we end up in a situation where we are at a severe disadvantage going up against an enemy team because we avoided combat for so long. Like and that, like to your point, like that can't be the way we play all the time, because we're never going to win like that. We're like kind of playing a rat play style a lot of the time, and it's just not conducive to the way the game ends up being, because I'm just thinking about our tendencies, right? Like because we'll lose games and we get really mad, and we're like we get fucked on circle, right? Like circle pushes us into a team or pushes us into 2 teams, and we have to run across open ground, but it's like we put ourselves there, you know. It's like eventually there's a point where it's like we fucked it up. Like we should have done something different, you know, earlier in the game, like maybe 5 minutes earlier in the game, not within the last like 30 seconds of that game. You know, it's like there's some decisions we made that led us to this spot that we didn't really like. We're not really thinking about it. And I felt like when we were playing with Mark, we were like way more cognizant of that stuff, you know. I felt like we were not often forced into a corner, you know, in a lot of our games. And
Well,
yeah, yeah.
I did notice that, like, so yes, I agree with that, and then no, I don't agree with that because at one point when I was playing with Jet and Brad, we were making conscious decisions on the ring and stuff like that, and uh, and I felt like we were moving okay.
Yeah.
Like we were trying to stay on the outer rims of the ring and everything like that.
Yeah.
Um, I think one thing we don't pay attention to that all of us need to start doing, and I started doing, is when we drop, we need to see where other teams are landing, regardless of like, you know, where we drop at, right? So say if
Yeah.
we drop super early, we need to notice where the because teams will fly away from you now. Like if you're going to a POI and like you're the only team there, and they know they're going to get to you, you're going to get there before them. They would just fly away sometime,
Yeah.
majority of the time.
Yeah.
So I think I did notice that with Mark, we were just dropping better because I was doing the drops majority of the time. I think.
You were.
And-
That's true.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I noticed we were dropping better because we were reading the map as far as, or at least I was rather. I can't say for you two. Like, not saying like I was I'm the fucking god of that. I'm just saying like I noticed myself doing it.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
were dropping, and we would take note of like where they dropped that along the flight path. So if the circle was coming, if we knew where the circle was coming, and say like everyone dropped on the north side, like a majority of people dropped on the north side of the map. So when the ring is coming in, there are going to be like 20 or 10 teams on the north side of that ring when they're coming in. So it's going to be more chaotic. So maybe we should move towards the south side of the ring. That way, it will probably only be 2 or 3 teams coming in, and we can kind of fight them, and then take advantage of the teams that converge on each other on the north side of the ring.
right.
But I noticed when we were doing that, when with me and like I said, me and Brad and everything like that, and Jet, it was still it was still chaotic at times. It was still seem like teams are like turning on us, and
Mhm.
I don't know if we don't know how to back out of the situation or we just get caught. When we were fighting with Mark, we like you said, we got caught in Olympus. 5 teams, people firing at us and people firing at other people as well. We got out. I
Yeah,
don't know if we're not using the same tactics as much or whatever.
yeah, right.
Um, but I did notice that, like, in Brad had a wraith. He had a wraith when it was me and Jet, and Jet was
Yeah,
fighting more. I will give him that. He wasn't doing the sniping thing. He was sniping, and then he'll come in and fight and everything like that.
yeah,
Um, the problem was I don't think like for us to escape, we weren't rotating really well. Like that was the
yeah,
problem
right.
with that group of people. And there were certain instances where I was literally screaming at Brad, tack out, use your tack, use your alt, get us out, get us out of here, get us out of here. Both me and Jet were saying that. So it's like I think you just need to know if you're gonna play a character, you have to know the character. It's just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna play this character because
Right.
we can do certain things.
Well,
Like
there's
you just have to know.
anticipation you have to have because, dude, I saw you get caught, right? And you weren't
Yeah,
down yet. You were not knocked yet, but I kind of anticipated what was about to happen. I started my rift before you went down.
yeah,
Like I started my all because I felt it coming. Like and I was like, I saw Mark over there and he was there to support you, but I was not. So I felt like my role in that spot was to get you guys out. That was not a good spot because
yeah,
if you stayed there, that other team could have pushed out and killed all of us, you know? So
yeah.
I felt it coming and that's what I did. It was just that was the decision I made. And it ended up being the right one, you know, ultimately. It's not always gonna work out, um, but yeah, I mean, I played Wraith a lot. It's just I think that's my thing. Like, I want to play like I want to go back to Wraith because I like her a lot. Like, I think she's a fun character. I think the buff they gave her to her ultimate actually has made it a lot better. It's a much more useful ability than it used to be. In my opinion, the extra distance is huge. But we also need to play with it in mind. You know, I think that is something we don't do is playing with our other teammates' abilities in mind, you know,
Mhm.
a lot of the time. So I think that's an important component we need to kind of think about as well. And I think what we need though is we need a scout character that can either tell us where the ring is or where all the other enemies are. That information, I think those changes to classes, that information, either one of those is extremely valuable. The entirety of the game, and it's something I think we need to have on our team. Period. Like I don't care who's doing it, whether it's me, you, or whoever. You know, whoever the
Yeah, I
third is.
mean,
Like,
and the thing is, Mark wasn't even scouting that much with
no,
his,
I know.
you know,
Which is funny. It's funny. You
yeah,
think it
because
would have hurt us, but it didn't.
yeah,
He seemed to have a really good instinct for where to go. A
yeah, and
lot
I
of the
think that's
time.
because he's like reading the map. I think he's just
Yeah.
like just reading the map and everything, and seeing where people firing from and seeing where people land, so you have a general idea of where
Yeah.
teams are at.
Right.
Um, I will
Yep.
say, like, I try to pick like a control character. I think people pick control characters for the wrong reasons. Like, I will pick Catalyst just because she can do what she needs to do. But also I need to know the ring where the ring is going to be at.
Yeah.
And I would rather have a control character for the ring instead of having a scout character for the learning where the enemy's at when you do the scan. Now I
Yeah.
have a scout character for like on the fly reconnaissance. So like when we were having Wraith, uh Loba, and then I'll pick Vantage because I'm like, I need someone who can kind of move with both of these people at the same
Yeah.
speed,
Right.
but also, thing. And I actually like playing Vantage. She's very fucking fun.
She is
Uh
super good.
yeah, and we actually almost got like third or second place when I was playing her a couple of
Yeah.
times. or
Yeah.
first or second place rather a couple times because we will scout and then I will snipe and I can just move with them or whatever when we need to move and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, I don't know. It's just also I do agree. Like even though the chat got really crazy one day,
I wish Jet would play somebody other than Low.
yes, I do agree with even though Brad was just going off. I mean, he was saying everything. I saw put the little meme in there, like, oh, the little Stephen A meme in there.
Yeah, man, that
But
shit was funny. So that was the perfect thing. Shit.
but yeah, he needs to play other players, other
Yeah.
characters, because we're all willing to do it. Um, he's like the only one not willing to do it. He started doing it in league, but we're like not playing league too much anymore. But yeah, he has to be willing to play like other characters. I don't know if you care if he plays like Octane or somebody like that. Like he has the ability to play. I don't think Loba is the best in every situation.
Well, she's a very selfish character. Everything about her is like geared towards her, right? Her tactical doesn't help anybody on the team, which is, I mean, true for a lot of characters. Most characters' tacticals don't help the team, but her ultimate,
I,
like the looting is nice, but I don't really care about the loot. That is like exacerbating the idea of avoiding. Like her
yeah,
ultimate is
of
good.
ratting, yeah,
Yeah, her ultimate is good for a team that rats because you can get loot, without having to fight. But I think the way you're supposed to play BR is you're supposed to go kill people with loot and take their shit. That's the
yeah,
whole point. Like that's what you're supposed to do.
yeah, and I
So yeah,
agree. And to piggyback off your point, I think she is a selfish character within the means of the support class. So if you
right.
think about it, right, every support character you got Lifeline, Gibraltar, Loba, and Newcastle.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Newcastle can put down the shield to protect his teammates. He also his passive where he can drag you and heal you while putting up a shield, and his ultimate puts up a shield that benefits
Right.
everybody on the team.
Right.
Gibraltar, he can lay down
Bubble.
cover fire, and he has the bubble. I think
Right.
he has he can actually get you up a little bit faster too because he doesn't do the standard animation. He kind of push you
Yep.
up and then hit you in the butt and like let's go brother or
Right.
whatever. So
Brother.
uh yeah, so I that right. So
Yeah.
then Lifeline, I can heal you. I can or Lifeline can not
Oh
only her
yeah.
attack puts down and heals people like all the team can heal each other off that one attack like full health.
Yep. Yep.
I can just get you up and you can crawl in a spot. I can get you up and cover while my drone gets you up. I can get like two people up at the same time and fire at people at the same time. And on top of that, my tack does what Loba's tack does, but like on a smaller or much smaller scale. So like I actually think probably Lifeline would be his character. The only thing she doesn't have is a getaway. And I
Right.
mean, none of those characters have a getaway. So, but Loba does, and it's only her. So you're right that the only tech that can really benefit us. She doesn't have a passive heal. She doesn't have a passive revive. All she has is her ult, and her ult you
Right.
can only get two things out of it before it closes down. So it's like, is it really that useful? Like it was useful. She was broken at the beginning where she can like heal and stuff, or not heal, but like get banners. The only way she can be more beneficial is if her tack can get banners without
Yeah,
going
but
into
I
the
don't even think that
crafter.
I don't even think that matters to me because like that's the idea though, like that you're losing a fight and recovering from it. Again, that's a problem. I would rather have Gibby who literally makes it easier for us to fight, like or helps us win a fight, or Lifeline who in the moment can get me up. I don't die, like and you have to go fucking revive me at a respawn beacon.
Yeah,
These characters are much more useful in combat. Loba. That's the thing with Loba. She's just not that useful in combat.
yeah,
Aim is aim, and his aim is really good. We've said that before,
yes,
but it's like he could have that aim with any character. It's just like that's irrelevant. That has nothing to do with the character. So he could be playing fucking Gibby and destroying people.
yeah.
So it's I don't know. I don't know. He's really stubborn about it. He doesn't want to play anybody else, and it's fine. But like, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Like,
It is.
yeah,
It's hard to say because I'm playing on console. So when I climb by myself, I'm climbing. Like I can get to where I need to get to, and I'm like maybe it's because we're on the PC. Like PC is naturally harder. In every game, the PC population is always harder. Like
Yeah.
that's just a given.
Right.
But that game when we were playing with Mark was really eye opening because I'm like, okay, we're playing with PC people, but Mark is still like beating ass even
Yeah.
with PC people.
Right.
So I just didn't know. I didn't know. I don't want to say it's our chemistry, but it is our chemistry. And I'm not. I don't want to blame one particular person or other particular person.
No, it is our
Um,
chemistry. It's not there. Like we're not. Like
yeah,
I said, like I was trying to say this in the chat. We're not playing as a team. We don't play these games as a team. Like we don't play League as a team. We don't play Apex as a team, and that's why we get frustrated and lose because we're playing it like we're playing with randos, basically. But we're
but
not
the funny
playing
part
with
is like
randos.
even when I'm playing at randos, like maybe because I expected randos, but like I
Yeah,
just won the game before I got on here
yeah,
with you, and I
yeah,
just run the rank game with randos, and they understood. I pinged. I was Ash, and I was like when we were on top of a tower or something like that, and then we ulted behind a team that was fighting another team. I pinged up there and I pinged my ult, and everybody got behind me and they knew exactly what I was about to do. I
yeah.
feel like I would have, when I say that to people in the chat, like in our actual
Oh,
Discord,
we
they
don't do. Yeah, when you're playing Ash, dude, we're not.
yeah, y'all
Yeah,
don't get behind me or y'all don't. I'm like,
right.
okay, they knock, we gotta push, 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 and I'll use my attack, and then y'all still up there, and I'm like, why is no one coming with me? Oh, I gotta reload. I gotta heal myself, man. I gotta heal myself. Like, move in, bro. Like, I don't
Well,
know.
that's another thing I think we have this tendency to do is that we don't want to go into a fight like at less than 100% health. But dude, sometimes
Yeah,
it doesn't matter, bro. Like you just need to be
yeah,
there, pressuring the enemy. They don't know that you're at less than 100% health.
yeah,
So it might be more beneficial to just go up, take the risk that you're gonna get knocked, and fucking win a fight. Be aggressive. I mean, obviously, if
yeah,
you're one shot, that's something else. But but dude, if you have like 40% health, or fuck, if you still have your shield a little bit, like 25 of your shield or something, I mean, fuck,
yeah. Just
that's still good. Like you could still fight with that. So
yeah, because I noticed like when so one thing I did notice with Mark, I'm sorry we're hovering on this on too long, y'all. But like one thing I did notice with Mark, like he'll hear the crack and he'll instantly just start running and beaming
yeah,
towards them.
yeah.
When we hear the crack, we don't do anything. Like we're just like,
Oh
oh, they're
yeah.
cracked, and that's it.
Fuck,
And we
dude,
don't.
you know how frustrating it is to knock somebody and I'm screaming, I knocked one of them, I knocked one of them, I knocked one of them, and nobody fucking does anything? Like, like nobody goes up. Like I'm like ready to push up and nobody pushes up. And I'm just like, oh my fucking God,
And like
dude.
I'm healing, I'm healing. I'm like,
The enemy
bro.
team, like we just stand around and let the enemy revive, heal themselves up to full, and then we go fight them. And it's like, come on, man. Like, so like Mark wasn't doing that shit, man. Like he was going in, dude. And there was points like that second game that we won, I think, or no, was it the first one? I forget. The one where we ended it like in outside of Gardens, where we were on that ramp.
Yeah,
Dude, he was pushing, man. Like he didn't give up. And I'm like, this is where I was like, man, he needs to slow down. Like he's way ahead of us. He's gonna get knocked. And he fucking did get knocked. But dude, he almost killed the Octane, and it was enough that I fucking hit him with one shot and the guy went down. And then you got Mark up while I was doing that. And the enemy team did not attack us while we were doing that. Maybe that was luck, but it worked out. Like his aggression was scaring them, dude. Like
yeah.
they fucking were
He,
they were trying to run. Like they were just trying to get out, like get away from him. So
I just think he had trust in us to like we
to
don't
show
even
up
though
and finish it off, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And either like it's like like and then that's where like the confidence thing comes in with some of our friends. Like some of them don't have the confidence just to push up and move. Like I'm like just push up and move and go. Like sometimes we just, yeah, it's just one of those things where we just need to stop playing like I don't know, like bitches. Like we just need we need to push up. Like that's
Well,
what it is. Like we just need to stop
yeah,
playing like
yeah.
bitches.
I
Yeah,
agree.
and
I'm down to play tonight. We'll leave this topic here. We've been talking about it long
yeah,
enough,
yeah,
but I kind of want to play. I haven't played since Friday, so I'm definitely in the mood for that. So other things I've been playing, like I said, Genshin. I kind of put it down over the weekend, and I haven't picked it back up. And I think I'm going to take a break from it for a bit. To be honest, the game's in a kind of on the tail end of a region right now, and that's when things get kind of boring. The events aren't very fun. They're really mailing it in because they're working on the next region, like trying to get it released. So I think I don't know if I'm gonna like uninstall it or anything like that, but I don't think I'm gonna play it for a while because I mean, it takes up a lot of my time, even when I am just playing it, trying to play it, doing dailies
Yeah.
and stuff. It still takes 30 minutes to an hour probably every day. That's a lot. That adds up.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna put it down for a bit and work on other stuff. Hogwarts Legacy. I actually put this one down too.
Oh, you didn't
After
beat
what?
it?
No, I haven't beat it. After what I said, after what I was saying last week, I got really into Fire Emblem, and I'll get into that here in a second. I ended up beating that over the weekend.
Okay.
Um, but Hogwarts Legacy was kind of the casualty in this situation. Once I finished Fire Emblem, which took me a while, like it still took me a long time to beat it. By the time I was done with Fire Emblem, I did not want to play Hogwarts. I was like, I want to play something fucking new. So I ended up picking up Metroid and Atelier Riser, which I'll get to those here in a bit. So Hogwarts is on the shelf at the moment. I don't know when I'm gonna go back to it. It may be soon, it may not. I just after everything I was saying last week, I think about the game and I'm just like, I don't like why am I even playing this? Like I don't even I'm not that excited about it anymore. So
Hmm.
I may put it down for a bit. And go finish it later. When there's more openness like in the summer or something. So yeah, Fire Emblem Engage. I was able to finish this on Sunday, and so this game is really good. I really enjoyed this game. I know I had like kind of a bit of a break with it for like a month or two, where I put it down after a while. But when I picked it, once I picked it back up, and so this is what happened. I gotta stop doing this to myself with Fire Emblem games, because I did it with this game. I did it with Three Houses. I think I burnt myself out on Three Houses for the same reason. Is I have this tendency with Fire Emblem games to try to level like as many characters as I can, like because the games let you, they especially this one lets you grind kind of endlessly. So I was kind of trying to level like a large amount of the cast, and it was just making the game take forever for me. So what I did was I came back. I was on chapter 20, and I said, "Fuck it. These 12 to 14 characters. This is my party." And these are the ones I'm going to play, like these are the ones I'm going to level. So I just picked those characters, the ones that were my best characters, and I just moved forward with them for the rest of the game. And that helped me get over the hump of my mental block.
Okay.
And I think I need to do that going forward. I need to stop fucking doing this stuff where I'm like trying to level like 25 characters at the same time. Because yeah, it just makes these games take forever for me, and ultimately I get burnt out because of it. So that so yeah, I did that, and I started playing the game again, and it's just the gameplay in this game is really good. This is a really good Fire Emblem for like pure gameplay. I think they did a really good job with the character growths, the enemy stat kind of scaling on all the various maps, and then just the maps themselves. I got to hand it to them for the most part, like pretty well designed maps in this game. Um, it's there was a lot of really challenging maps, especially late in the game. The final two maps, in particular, were really challenging, but they're especially the second to last map was super good. I really like that map. But there was one annoying aspect to this where like the last like 4 or 5 maps, they started doing this thing where they kind of had a soft timer for you that they don't tell you about. Like all of a sudden the game, like at a certain point, you get to a specific turn number, and then every turn enemy reinforcements come in, and it's not like 2 or 3 enemies. It's literally like fucking 10 every turn start showing up. And it was a little frustrating at that regard at that with that, because I'm a very slow, methodical player with Fire Emblem. I don't rush. I don't tend to be hyper aggressive because I play on classic mode, so I don't want to lose anybody, obviously. So the game is like really brutal on that in that regard late in the game. There's a couple maps in particular where, dude, it was just fucking crazy. Where there was one map where it was spawning 20 enemies a turn on the edges of the map, literally, and you're like fucking surrounded by them. Like they only need to take like 2 or 3 turns to get to you after they spawn. So and they're spawning these every turn. So once the first wave gets to you, you obviously can't kill all the enemies. So even if you happen to, there's another wave of 20 right behind that. So
Yeah.
it was definitely pretty brutal, but I managed to get through it. The final map in particular, though, I will warn people, like, don't fucking be very aggressive in that map. Don't do what I did. I ended up getting caught in this cycle of, because the final boss has this fucking shield, and you have to like kill these enemies to break the shield. But if you don't kill the boss fast enough, the shield will regenerate because new enemies will spawn to take their place. And I didn't really get that when I first started doing the map, and I ended up getting stuck in this like 3 or 4 hour kind of stalemate with the map. Whereas if I had just on the first wave, if I had just gone all in on the boss, I might have been able to kill it right there. So that's probably more the strategy you want to go for with that one. But I managed to get through it. Another thing I'll shout out to, the soundtrack in this game is really good. There's a lot of good songs, and the last two maps have great music. Both of them. So that was also a great big highlight for this game as well. So the story, it gets better, I guess. It's not like this isn't. It's kind of a cheeseball Fire Emblem game. It's very like I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. Like the good guys are the good guys and the bad guys are the bad guys. There's not really a gray area. It's like
Yeah,
hammy, like fucking mustache twirling villain kind of stuff. And
I
if you're into
appreciate
that,
that.
then yeah, if you're into that, then you're into that. I don't hate it. Depending on how it's delivered, it was fine in this game. Ultimately, I didn't have a huge issue with it. I just don't like. I don't think it's a great story, but it's serviceable. It gets the job done. It's certainly better than Fates, so it's hard not to be better than Fates, though. Um, so I think overall, yeah, really good game. This I would definitely recommend it to anybody that's a fan of Fire Emblem for sure. And I will. I'm not sure if I will play it again. I'm kind of hoping they do a new game plus mode at some point because that is not in the game right now. And I would kind of like to take this game because I realized a lot of things at the end of my playthrough that I kind of fucked up. And I am really mad at myself for it because I made the game less fun as a result. Because the fact that I wasn't focusing on a small group of characters meant that I was not able to fully take advantage of the skill system with the emblems because I just did not have enough SP to inherit some of the good skills onto my units because I wasn't using them enough. They weren't fighting enough battles. So as a result, late game, like I was saying last week, I barely had inherited skills, and I inherited probably 6 or 7 skills total between all my units. That's what I was able to afford. But playing the game again, I would do that totally differently. I would also recommend playing this game with the Nintendo Online service because if you do not, you will be poor as fuck. The game does not give you a lot of money, and the reason for that is because if you have Nintendo Online on your Switch, it will randomly spawn these spots on the map that will give you items and shit that you can sell for money, like extra items, like
Hmm.
weapons and stuff like that. And you can do all sorts of shit with the weapons. Like you can upgrade them. You can. There's this feature that they added shortly after launch where you can throw a bunch of stuff in a well that will upgrade it after one battle. Like you'll get better equipment potentially. So that's a way to cycle your equipment, or you could just straight up sell it for money. Otherwise, grinding for gold in this game is kind of miserable. It takes forever, and it's not great. So that was another thing that I did not love, and I would probably do differently if I played this game again. And then the other thing is the just kind of the class system. I fucked this up too, and this is something. This is a warning to all of you because it's important to note this. So this game works a lot differently than especially old school Fire Emblems because the prevailing wisdom in old school Fire Emblem games was you could so most of the time in Fire Emblem, the level cap for a unit is level 20. They start at level 1 and they go to level 20. At level 20, they can't gain any more experience, they can't level anymore. So but there's always advanced classes in the game where you can upgrade your units to an advanced class. And generally the wisdom was because you can start upgrading your base classes to advanced classes generally at level 10. But usually what people would tell you is you would want to level them to 20 because if you would lose basically the way old Fire Emblem games worked, like especially like GBA ones and the Tellius games on GameCube and Wii, is basically if a unit started at level 1 in a base class, they would get 40 levels total over the course of the game. And they would get 20 in their base class, and then they would get 20 in their advanced class. And if you promoted them early, you could not unpromote them. Like, so if you promoted them at level 10, you would basically be losing 10 levels essentially of potential stat growths. So it wasn't the right thing to do that. You would want to level to max to 20. This game, total fucking opposite. You want to level, you want to get your units to 10 and you want to promote them immediately because there is no downside to doing so. Stat growths in advanced classes are better. They also get a skill at level 5. And then once you do that, you can switch to any other advanced class you want as long as you have the weapon proficiencies needed to be in that class. So so what I fucked up was I leveled all my units to 20 in base classes before I promoted them, and I did not understand the way the class swapping system worked. So I was under the impression that you needed to level in the base class of an advanced class in order to unlock that advanced class. So for instance, say I have an armored unit, like an armor, like a knight armor, and like an axe armor unit. And I level him to 20, and I wanna turn him into a halberdier, which is like a more speedier infantry spear wielder. I was under the impression that I had to turn him into the base class spear fighter and then upgrade him to a halberdier. That is not the case. I could have upgraded him to a general from his armor class and then used the second seal to turn him into a halberdier without ever having to go through the base class at all. I totally fucked this up, like with multiple units. And so my recommendation: get to your advanced class as soon as you fucking can in the game, and then you level that going forward from there. I think there's probably an early part of the game where you might want to wait to do that because experience gains in advanced classes are penalized early on. So maybe when you start seeing enemy units that are in their advanced classes, that's when you want to do that upgrade. But just understand that you don't need to go through another base class to get an advanced class, a specific one. You just need the weapon proficiency. Literally, that's all you need, and you need to be in an advanced class, and then you can swap between them as you see fit, basically. As long as
Okay.
you have second seals. The other thing is weapon proficiencies. I remember I was complaining about this early on. Well, there's a system in the game that I did not fucking explore until very late in the game, where there's this arena in the Somniel where you can have units fight each other 3 times between battles and they'll gain experience. That I knew about and I was using. However, there's another system in there where you can have your unit fight an emblem. And in this fight with the emblem, you can spend bond fragments to level up their bond with the emblem, and you can do this in batches. So you can do 5 levels at a time. You do not need to equip the emblem and go grind it in a million battles to level the bond. You literally just go into the arena, you spend the requisite bond fragments you need, and bang, you're level 5, then you're level 10, then you're level 15 with the bond, and bang. Like you could do that all between one battle, between 2 battles. Like you don't have to do anything else. I did not know this until very late in the game, and it like completely fucking changed the game for me. And I was so pissed because what I was doing was I was trying to level a base class for a character in order to change them into the advanced class because I wanted to like swap what they were. And I was doing that while trying to level the proficiency of the emblem that gave them the proficiency they needed for that advanced class too. And dude, it was just like I was doing this in such a ridiculous roundabout way that yeah, don't learn from my mistakes. Don't do any of this shit, okay? The game doesn't do a great job of telling you about this stuff, but just point being, like, you will have a much better experience if you pay attention to this stuff. And if you're not understanding what I'm saying, go find a guide because they're out there. But yeah, so my next playthrough of Fire Emblem Engage, I think, will be infinitely more fun because I will know all of these things and I will play the game with that knowledge in mind. So I don't know. In the future, I might. I'm not sure I'm going to do this soon, but I do kind of want to do like a maddening playthrough, like the super hard difficulty. And I may do that. And with this knowledge, armed with this knowledge, I believe I can handle that difficulty level. So okay, Primal Engage, pretty good. Montreal, you need to get back to it. I know you were playing it,
Yeah, it was.
but now that you know all this stuff, you'll probably have a better experience than I did. Um, Other thing I'm playing. So after that, playing Metroid Prime Remastered a little. I didn't get very far. I'm probably an hour and a half in, maybe. I just did the ship section before you're on the planet, and I got to the planet Talon 4, and I'm in the intro section where you're like kind of running around for the first time. So I haven't really done much other than that. The only thing I really have to say about this so far is that the game actually looks really good. They did a lot of work on the graphics. It looks modern, like which is fucking pretty cool actually to see Metroid Prime in this form, like in this state. So yeah, that will be fun to play. I'm looking forward to playing that some more this weekend. And then the other game is Atelier Riser 3. So I did mention this last week, and I ended up buying it, and I started playing it on Sunday, and I've been playing it this week. I'm only a few hours into it, but I do have a few thoughts already with it. So on the jump, like off the jump, first thing is that this is not a AAA game. That is like clear immediately. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't expect like Square Enix level production value out of this game. But that's okay. It's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something just a little bit like smaller scale, a little bit more I don't know how to say this, like just kind of not built to like, they're not trying to blow you away with graphics or anything like that, or like production
Yeah, they're
value.
just
Like
trying
they're
to
just
make a
making a
fun
they're making a
game.
fucking they're making the fucking game they want to make,
Yeah.
you know. And so the thing about this game though, the other reason I want to play it is like I could just tell just by looking at it, I had this feeling about it, and it's like playing it, I was confirmed is that this game is just really like cozy, it's a very light game. Like there's not some dark, I mean there is, but it's not immediately presented to us like in the initial run of the game. It's not like this dark edgy game. It's just a really light anime game. The music is really like upbeat and fun. And the characters are very energetic and happy, and like they're all happy to see each other, and like there's not like this like fucking edginess to it at all. And I kind of like that. I kind of need that in a game right now. Because I tend to play a lot of fucking edgy games. And but this game is like pretty, it's weird. The game's really straightforward in what it is, but it's a very complicated game. So I'm not deep enough in where I really understand this game fully yet. But what I will tell you guys, if you do not like crafting in your RPGs, this game is not for you. This game is a crafting game. That is like the mechanic. That's like the most important part of this game. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm actually loving it. I'm glad I decided to dive into this because running around and exploring and the combat, they're fine, they're serviceable, but dude, the crafting system in this game is actually really cool to figure out. It's fun. It's very complex, and it just seems like there's a lot to it, and I'm looking forward to getting like deeper in it, and really figuring out how to master it and like make really cool shit in the game. But because yeah, otherwise like the game is like, it's an open, I don't even know if I call it open world. It is open world, but the game has a lot of like corridors. Like there's not a ton of open space in this game. Like it's not like Xenoblade where you run into like the Bionis leg and it's this giant fucking open place. Like this game is very compact in its area design. Like it's which is good, which is fine. I actually don't have a problem with that either, because I mean we talked about this. I have like open world fatigue. I need a game that's like not gigantic. I don't have to run like 80 million miles to find everything, and there's not like 8,000 nooks and crannies in it. This game's a little bit more straightforward in that regard, and I like that for it. I like the game for it. And I think the other thing is the it kind of reminds me of like running around, is because there's not much going on in this game really, like out in the open world. It's honestly, it's just environments. There's a bunch of shit you can gather, and you can kind of like cut down trees or mine ore or like pick up herbs and stuff, and there's tons of like gathering nodes in the game. And then there's just random enemies walking around, and it kind of reminds me of like, those like Korean MMOs, those weird like browser ones that used
Yeah.
to, it reminds me a lot of those in like a 3D space, and I find that appealing in this context, because it's a single player game, so it's grindy, but it's not like fucking oppressively grindy like those games were. But I always like the styling of those games. I don't know why, but I always have, where it's just like enemies like kind of walking around aimlessly, and it just there's no rhyme or reason to it. It just looks completely out of place, but for whatever reason I find it appealing. um and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it so far. There's like random chests and stuff and landmarks you can find, but it's nothing, there's nothing crazy. The story is like really um jarring so far, I will say, because this is the third game in a trilogy. So these characters have existed in two other games, the party you have and a lot of the characters you meet. But there is a brief synopsis that you can watch, which I did watch. But the start of this game definitely assumes you've played the other two games, certainly. So I kind of have no idea what the fuck is going on. Which is fine. It's okay. I don't have a problem with it, but I'm still enjoying the game regardless. But it's an interesting game. I'm happy I picked it up. I don't know if I'm gonna like go crazy with it. We'll see. I'm gonna keep putting time into it and just see where it takes me, I guess. Because I do find the crafting enjoyable for sure. So, um, another thing I'll say: no English dub for this game. It's Japanese only. So, you will have to pay attention to things. You can't just listen, unless you speak Japanese, of course. But uh but yeah, I think it's kind of cool. It's interesting. It's fun. It's fun to jump into a series I've never played before that I've always kind of had in the back of my head. This has always been one of those games like since like the PS3 era. I've always heard of the Atelier games, and I like
Mhm.
see them get released, and occasionally I'll see somebody that I know play it, like somebody I used to follow play it or something, and review it. And I've always been intrigued, but I've never actually decided to dive in, and it just felt like the right game to do that with. So, um, yeah, I like it. It's good. So, all right, Montreal, that's enough of me. I've been talking for like 25 minutes straight. What have you been playing besides Apex?
Yeah, I haven't really touched League of Legends or Rulong or even Hogwarts. I just don't really have the time, or not time, but energy to play them right now. I just wanted to play something I knew.
Yeah.
I did beat. I already talked about Resident Evil 4 last week. I might do a replay of that because that was really fun, even though it was hard. It was now that I have all the upgrades, I think the next playthrough will be okay. So I might
Hmm.
try to platinum this game. I'm not too sure yet though.
Yeah.
Um, and Devil May Cry 5, I wanted to play it something like I knew or whatever. And I was on the fence between Devil May Cry 5 or Kingdom Hearts 2 and just try to platinum Kingdom Hearts 2 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I chose Devil May Cry 5 because the special I haven't bought the special edition or I haven't played Virgil's story yet or anything like that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna just play the special edition that came out, like a year ago, I think. It has 120 frames. It has turbo mode, and so a host of other features or whatever. So I thought you can just upgrade it, and apparently they're still doing the same shit that they did back in the day, where they released the initial game, and then there's another game, the special edition that comes out, and all your upgrades for your characters and everything like that does not transfer over. So I had like Nero fully upgraded.
This is a Capcom thing, isn't it? Because
Yes,
that's what they do with Monster Hunter. Fucking
yeah.
god, man, that's
Yeah,
bullshit.
so I had Nero fully upgraded, I had V fully upgraded, and I had Dante fully upgraded. When you
Yeah.
get the special edition, it's only $40, but I thought it was going to be, you're paying for all that stuff or whatever, and you get Virgil. So what I should have done was you can get the deluxe edition and you get a couple extra things or whatever, but you don't get the turbo mode. Like I love turbo mode on Devil May Cry, and you don't but you still get Virgil. And you don't get the 120 frames or whatever. At least on the Xbox version, you can play 120 frames. And yeah, you don't get that with the deluxe version, but you do get Virgil and his all his stuff like that or whatever. And I think they get some new moves, but I'm not too sure in the special edition. Um, so I just wasted $40 because I should have researched it before, but I'm like, there's no way they're doing this shit like again, right? Like the last time they did this shit was like Devil May Cry 4, but Devil May Cry 4 was also like a 10-year-old game by the time they redid the special edition, definitive
Yeah.
edition for
Yeah.
PS4 and Xbox One. So I'm like, okay, well, um, I can do that or whatever. Um, but no, yeah, it's a totally new game. Your stuff doesn't transfer over. I have to upgrade Nero all the way again. I have to upgrade Dante all over again. I have to upgrade V all over again. Then I haven't played Virgil yet, but you can go straight into playing Virgil. Um, but I wanted to play like all my other characters too. So I have to play through the story again, and I have to upgrade them because it's a monetary system they have where you beat enemies and you get red orbs and stuff like that, and you use those red orbs to buy moves. So I gotta
Yeah.
do all that again, or you can just buy red orbs at the store, the Microsoft store or whatever, and upgrade them that way or whatever.
Oh
So
man.
it's like I can't believe they got away with this shit.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised no one like bitched about this shit because this was like they did it in the Devil May Cry Special Edition, Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. But I just assumed that was because like the game was like 10 years old when they released the special edition of that game. So I'm like,
Right.
all right, whatever. Like, I get it, whatever the case may be. They're trying to see if people have interest in Devil May Cry and everything. Um, but no, they did it with this game, and everyone bought Devil May Cry 5. If you bought Devil May Cry 5, if you're not like a turbo savant like I am or whatever, and you just want to play regular Devil May Cry, because regular Devil May Cry without turbo mode is still fast. Um,
Hmm.
so if you already beat the game, don't buy the special edition. It literally eliminates. It's a brand new game, and none of your shit transfers over at all. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm upset about that because I spent $40 on the game to get it, and now I actually just have no desire to play it anymore because I don't want to go. I tried to play Devil Hunter, which is their hard mode. Um,
Yeah.
out the gate, and it's damn near impossible. Like you can't because you need your moves. You need move. I couldn't get past the first mission. I had to go into the human form or the human difficulty, which is normal. Get to the store to open the store, and then I bought some stuff with the orbs I had. Then I had to go back to the mission in Devil Hunter, and then I can beat then I beat the mission. But I'm like,
Hmm.
that's crazy. Like you can't even beat that mission without like because you don't even unlock the store until the end of that mission. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, to upgrade your moves. So it's like, yeah, it just kind of killed my motivation for the game. So I have it now, and I may come back to it like next year or some shit. But as far as right now, like yeah, I have to chalk it up. I wasted $40 or whatever the fuck, and I'm probably just gonna play
Damn.
Kingdom Hearts 2.
That sucks, man.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
like
Why
it
do they do
really
this shit, man? I don't
because they
understand.
get away
Like,
with it. Like we let Capcom get away with it.
no,
Like
you're right.
it's all the good that Capcom's done so far. They still do bullshit like this. They've been doing it with Monster Hunter. I mean, we all see it, and now they did it with fucking Devil May Cry. I mean, they've been doing it with Devil May Cry, but like each special edition that came out was like years after the original special edition.
Yeah.
But even like Devil May Cry 3 special edition, I want to say, but see, I only played Devil May Cry 3 special edition. I didn't play the original Devil May Cry
Hmm.
3. So I don't know about that one. But I believe they did the same shit. Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition. I know for sure they did it with Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. But that's because Devil May Cry 4 they didn't get canned, but the series went on ice because they made the other version of Devil May Cry and they tried to push that one forward, but that one didn't go anywhere. So then they remade Devil May Cry 4 special edition, special definitive edition for
Right.
the Xbox One and PS4. But like I said, that was like 10 years after everything then happened. So I understand why we couldn't transfer our data over in that time, but this time, Devil May Cry 5, there's no excuse for why we can't transfer our stuff over to the special edition. I I, I don't know. It was just very jarring to me that no one really bitched about it. Or maybe they did bitch about it, but I haven't really been in Devil May Cry circles lately. So I hope for the next Devil May Cry, I'm not buying Devil May Cry 6 right off the bat. Like I'm gonna try to hold my my intuition to buy it. Like I did, like I'm just gonna say with Monster Hunter as well. Like I'm gonna try to hold myself not to buy it as soon as it comes out and just wait for the special edition or whatever the fuck. Cause they're gonna
Yeah.
keep doing this shit. So
I
um
just think that's crazy, though, man. Like, I mean, we're gonna talk about this later, actually, because I took a peek at the NPD charts for February, and I think they're eating shit on Monster Hunter on console right now.
yeah.
So yeah, that's an interesting point. I don't know. Maybe the market is responding a little bit, but or maybe Rise has just been out too long, but who knows? But yeah,
I
dude,
mean, well,
that sucks, man.
a lot of people agree that Rise is just not where they thought it was at.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get into that later. But yeah, it does suck that I lost $40, and I was really upset by it. And it kind of just I was trying to play the game and just suck it up. And I when something like that happens, it's just really because like you build these characters. It's not like an hour to build Nero or to buy all their stuff and learn all their moves again. I have to learn his whole move set again and everything like that over again.
Yeah.
And then the same thing for Dante and the same thing for V. So it's like, and then they add another character, which is Virgil, who have, you got to do the same shit. So it's like, it just really killed my motivation for the game. So I may just switch over to Kingdom Hearts 3 or 2 rather, and just platinum that, like
Mhm.
beat it on critical mode, platinum it, and everything like that. So yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is.
Makes sense. All right. You playing anything else?
Nope, that is it. That was my weekend. So
Your rant.
this
All right.
weekend I really didn't play too many video games besides like Apex and stuff, but I was
Mhm.
like busy doing other stuff. So
It's all good. All right. Well, let's move on into the news. Well, first news story is about Capcom. Resident Evil 4 remake. They announced shortly after it came out that it has sold 3 million units in its first 2 days of release, which is a very, very strong start for this game. Probably, I don't know if it's on par with previous Resident Evils or like Resident Evil 2 remake or anything like that, but 3 million in 2 days is definitely strong no matter what your expectations are. So, you've finished the game and you might play it again. So, any other thoughts on this one you want to share?
no, I think this is probably the best Resident Evil game they made so far. I don't know. This is how you do remakes.
Yeah.
Uh, they took the original one and, like I said before last week, uh, they kept key parts of the game, but they swapped it in different areas. Just made it fresh and new to where even I, who knew the story and knew what was going to happen, I didn't know what was going to happen. If that makes any sense.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. This is probably the best remake since of any game since Final Fantasy VII remake. Like those
Yeah.
two games are the pinnacles of like how you do remakes. Um, yeah, just phenomenal. I put it up there with Final Fantasy VII remake as far as like an actual remake of a game.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that sounds it's everything I've seen kind of echoes what you're saying for sure. Because I heard they did make changes, right? It's just like it was just they moved some things around. It wasn't all exactly the same as the original game.
Yeah, it was just certain things didn't happen in order,
Yeah.
but they happen in order. It's just hard to explain. Like, for instance, you would go from the village, and then you will go to this open area, this like bridge area, and then you will fight the fish in the lake.
Hmm.
So you get to those paths, you do those key points, but how you get there is different. And then even after the fish fight, so like that's almost like standard Resident Evil 4 stuff. But then Resident Evil 4 continues to be linear, but Resident Evil 4 remake goes kind of open, and you can explore different little sections of the lake that
Hmm.
weren't open to you before and everything like that.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and then it's just like they removed certain parts, but then like kept it the way it was the same. It's just really hard to explain. Like after the lake fight, Leon's supposed to pass out because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but yeah, Leon's I mean the game's like 22 fucking years old. So then in the original game, Leon passes out because he got stuck with the Plagueis or whatever. He got infected by it. So
Hmm.
in the remake though, this is where I won't spoil it for y'all, but I'll just say that doesn't happen. And like the way everything happens in 4 happens in the original, but like in different orders and everything of that nature. So it was just like, and then they added completely new areas and everything like that, or they even revamped how boss fights work and all that stuff. So yeah, I just think that that's how you do a remake. It reminded me of Final Fantasy VII because Final Fantasy VII added that whole under the first disc of the game. I don't even think they covered all of the first disc, right? In Final Fantasy VII
Uh,
remake.
they 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 did
They
not.
did. They did not. Yeah. Okay. And then they added a whole under area of Final Fantasy VII and a whole like under the plate area and everything like that, which you do happen in Final Fantasy VII, the original, but not to the extent that it happens in Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh yeah,
Like it,
you go to areas that you never go to in the original. Like, I mean,
yeah,
tons of shit happens. Yeah, like total. I mean, I don't want to spoil that game either. So,
yeah, exactly.
that
It's,
that
it's
one's
just
yeah,
it's just you, and then you fight bosses that you haven't fought before and everything like it was just a lot of shit happening in that. Now take now if you take Final Fantasy Crisis Core, that remake, that wasn't, to me, that wasn't a remake. That was a glorified remaster. I think
yeah.
they may have called it a remaster, or they did call it a remake. And
I
that
think
to
they
me
call it a
was
remaster.
okay. Yeah, because that was like the worst remaster, to be honest with you. They changed Zach's voice actor and all this other stuff, and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
it's just a whole thing. But yeah, as far as this game though, I definitely recommend it. I even recommend it to people who haven't played Resident Evil. Just play it. It's a really fun game. It still has the creep factor, and it still has the action that you want, which I hope. I read an article in this game too, and it was like 10 games that you want to play after 10 action games that you want to play after Resident Evil 4. And I'm like, no, let's not do this again. That was the problem with the original Resident Evil 4. They just went straight action. They didn't keep the horror elements or whatever. Because they thought everybody just wanted the action. And Resident Evil 4, like I said, has the best of both worlds. It has the horror action, the horror elements, and the action elements. But it seems like the I wouldn't say Resident Evil Capcom themselves, but the media is doing the same shit that they were doing back in the day, where it was like, oh, maybe Capcom should just take Resident Evil straight action. It's like, no, let's not do that. That's all we got in this bubble before. Like,
Well,
let's
are they
still
gonna?
make Resident Evil 5
Yeah. Are
like
they gonna? Well, are they gonna remake that game, Resident Evil
I
Five? I
think
mean,
they
we're
are.
there now, right?
Yeah, I think they are, and the way they can do it is how they originally envisioned it. So the way it was originally envisioned, you're going to Africa, and everything of that nature, but you're supposed to be fighting like because you're in like in the hot climate area of Africa, not the cold parts of Africa or whatever.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to be fighting mirages, and like I remember the original trailer for Resident Evil 5, and then when they worked some stuff out, then the trailer released again, and it was not what anyone wanted. um but yeah, Chris is supposed to be going to Africa, and the Plagueis was infecting the Africans there and stuff like that, and Wesker was there, and you're supposed to be fighting mirages and different type of sand monsters and all this other shit like that, and even some of the jungle areas, like it'll get too hot, you'll get dehydrated, and you'll start having hallucinations and stuff. And I'm hoping they go in the original vision of Resident Evil 5.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm afraid they may tone it back because it is a white guy shooting black people. Uh, and
Mm,
that was the version. That was the problem with the original one as well. They felt like they had to add Sheva because like she was the buffer, right? Oh, it's a black cop there, a black person there, so it makes it okay or whatever.
yeah.
With the co-op or whatever. And she was
Yeah.
like forced on you even when you were playing solo. There was the NPC playing Sheva, so um I
I
felt
do
like they had
remember
to.
that. I remember the complaints about that. The whole
Yeah,
game was like an escort quest.
yes, and I feel like they added her in there because they didn't want to offend anybody, and this was like way in 2010 or 2012 or some shit like that, before
Yeah.
that whole thing even started, in my opinion, or it was like the birth of it, or like at the beginning waves of it. Now I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do
Dude, I don't think
because
that game can come out now because you're
yeah.
totally right. They'd almost have to change the nationality of the main character because like yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
they can't, like, Chris is established white, so they
oh yeah,
either
but there's almost no context for what you just said is like appropriate. Like a white guy going to Africa and just murdering black people. No, dude, you can't do that. I don't know. I just like you can't do it. I don't feel like you can do that.
Yeah,
So
and
I
I
don't
can
know.
already see, like, how crazy the mod's gonna be. They're gonna put, like, a
Yeah.
clan suit over fucking
Oh
Chris
my
and everything.
god, no, dude. Oh, god.
So so I can already
Don't
see
give them the
the
ideas, man.
I'm
Jesus
pretty
Christ.
sure I'm pretty
They
sure
probably
people
already
already done it.
exist,
Yeah, they probably
actually.
already exist, yeah, so I'm pretty sure you can find that mod out there for the original Resident Evil 5. But,
Oh my
yeah,
god.
like, I don't know how they're gonna restructure it. Now, they can do something where he goes to South Africa and there are white and black people in South Africa. So you're shooting, both people.
Yeah.
Because there were black zombies in Resident Evil 2 and 3.
Hmm.
So they can't do that. I mean, that
Yeah.
would probably be the safest thing to do, to be honest with
More,
you. Just
more acceptable, probably. I guess.
yeah, that would probably be the safest thing. Or they can take it to Egypt, but then you'll be killing like Arabs. So maybe not to Egypt. So you, so, you just
Russia.
keep it
Just go
as
to Russia. Just
yeah, just
fucking go
go
to Russia, man. That's the
to
only place you can go. It's safe.
yeah, just go to like South Africa where there are both white and black people nationalities. And now since there are a lot of actually Chinese South Africans out there too, they can put it's a rainbow coalition down there. You can just do all that down there. Rainbow
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe they'll do that and that'll be safe for them. But yeah, I am interested. I actually want them to remake the side games. Like I want them to remake Resident Evil Zero and Code
Raccoon
Veronica.
City.
Yeah, and Raccoon. No, not Raccoon City. Uh, not
Is
Raccoon
it?
City.
Wait, hold on. Is that the one? Because this whole conversation, all I've been thinking about is that cut scene where the two guys are running around shooting at each other's feet.
No, that's a movie. That's an actual movie.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a movie.
It's one of my favorite things I've ever seen, dude. So
Which is funny
funny.
because that movie's actually like animation wise, that movie's like really fucking good. But
Yeah,
then that
but it's
one cut,
just the
that one
choreography is
scene,
so
yeah,
dumb.
that one choreography is like really,
Oh,
really weird.
yeah. Okay.
But no, that was a movie. But like Code Veronica has Claire, who's like the second person that you can play as in Resident Evil 2.
Yep. Yep.
She has her own spin-off game where she goes to Europe looking for Chris. And then Resident Evil Zero is before the events of Resident Evil 1. So a train comes in with the serum and stuff like that to the mansion and stuff like that. Um so yeah, I was hoping they'd remake those games. Or even like Revelations where you play as Jill again. Um but they have to do Revelations after 5. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping they go all the way up to 6 because I mean that's where the games really start getting bad. 5 was like okay, but 6 was like bad. 6 was
Yeah.
like everyone hated 6. So yeah,
All right. Fair enough. Well, Capcom continuing to find success. Resident Evil is reborn.
yeah. Don't make a fucking Resident Evil 4 remake special edition. I gotta do everything over again. Fucking assholes.
Shit. All right, well, let's move on to our final story for the week. February NPD numbers. These actually have been out for a while, but uh, well, it's actually only been a week, so I don't even know if we could have covered this last week. Interesting. Anyways, so here they are for the month of February 2023. So total video game sales, 4.6 billion this year versus 4.321 billion last year. That is a 6% increase. Video game content, this is basically all game sales, microtransactions, DLC, etc. 3.89 billion this year versus 3.83 billion last year. That is a 1% increase. Video game hardware sales 495 million this year versus 295 million last year. That is a 68% increase. Video game accessories 212 million this year versus 188 million this last year. That is a 13% increase. So we are seeing overall increases. Last year was a down year, obviously coming off of the COVID and the pandemic, the couple years of highs. We're starting to see it kind of spiked up, went back down, and now we're kind of getting back to that plateau where we can start. We're starting to see growth again, in kind of a more realistic way. So it's kind of interesting. We've had a couple months of this now. This will be interesting to watch. But the hardware sales, significant change. Obviously, there's a lot more readily available stock now of these consoles than there was a year ago. So that one also makes sense. But any major takeaways from these numbers, Montrell?
uh, looks like sales are back up again. I know they dropped for a minute, but
Yeah. Well, I
uh,
mean, last year, the entirety of last year was kind of a drop, right?
yeah,
Um,
yep.
but we're seeing that kind of growth start to peak through a little bit again this year now. So we may have a slightly positive year ahead of us, where the game industry has now recovered from those spikes, and we're kind of back into more normal flow of sales.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of companies are letting studios go or some people go and everything like that, especially EA.
Yeah.
Maybe because they were trying to anticipate this,
Hmm.
but it looks like, or they were anticipating from last year because, like, the Feds went up on stuff and everything like that in the economy. So I thought that's what it was because a lot of companies were doing that, but I mean, they're still making a lot of money. So I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on.
Yeah. All right. Well, top 20 games for February. Number one, Hogwarts Legacy. No surprise. Number two, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Number three, Dead Space remake. Number
Wow.
four, Madden NFL 23. Number five, FIFA 23. Number six, The Last of Us Part 1. Number seven, Elden Ring. Number eight, Wild Hearts. Number nine, Like a Dragon Ishin. Number
Nice.
10, Octopath Traveler 2. Number 11, God of War Ragnarok. Number 12, Minecraft. Number 13, Mario Kart 8. Number 14, Pokemon Scarlet Violet. Number 15, Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Number 16, Company of Heroes 3. 17,
Hmm.
Sonic Frontiers. 18, The Last of Us Part 2. And then 19, NBA 2K23. And 20, Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line. Um, Interesting month. Not a lot of
Yes.
Nintendo on here, dude.
Well, they got 3 slots. They
Yeah,
got
but they
three
usually have
slots.
8 or 9. You know, it's kind of interesting. But what's jumping out to you besides that?
Actually, I'll be honest. Uh, First of all, like, oh yeah, Madden has like 3 slots. So the Dead Space that stuck out to me.
Yeah,
I
that
knew
it
it was
stayed
gonna be
up there.
successful.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
I knew it
Yeah.
was gonna be successful, but damn, I knew Hogwarts was gonna sell really well. Call of Duty was gonna sell really well, but the one that's sticking out to me is I'll get to the last one that's sticking out to me later, like last in the conversation. But like
Hmm.
a Dragon Engine, like that's really
Right,
sticking
which
out
is
to
that's a
me.
Yakuza game.
Yeah, I mean, I
Just
know it's
not.
gained a lot of popularity, but damn, I didn't realize it would be the top 10 for last month.
Yeah.
And it's beating Octopath Traveler. That's
That
really
doesn't surprise me. I'm actually surprised Octopath fucking charted, but
really
um
I that game's like I think it's a Square Enix game, so to me they're gonna chart like like
yeah,
crazy.
they don't I mean, it's an I don't know. It's weird. I think Octopath's probably finding success because it was an exclusive to Switch when it first came out, the original
Hmm.
one. And it did come to Xbox and PC eventually, but it never went to PlayStation. This one is on PlayStation. So
Ah,
I
okay,
think that is a big boon for this game, actually. Because
okay,
which is hilarious because I don't understand why Square withheld it from PlayStation, the first one, because that's the console that you would want to put it on the most outside of the Switch. But,
yeah.
you know, so that's
Um,
why I think it's there, probably.
I would say Kirby, but Kirby is weird because it has a really dedicated fan base. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a surprise. Company of Heroes, that one surprised me. I was not
Yeah.
expecting to see that one on there. I'm
Hmm.
actually really glad to see that one on there. That means maybe RTSs have a interest, like the younger generation has an interest in RTSs,
Yeah.
and hopefully, like if these RTSs start selling really well, we can probably get Activision Blizzard to make another fucking StarCraft or something like that. Um,
Do we
or
want that though?
Warcraft.
Do we want
Yeah,
that? I don't know if I want that.
yeah. Okay, you're right.
Just let it be dead.
Yeah, just
Just
let it be
just leave
dead.
me with the
Yeah,
memory of StarCraft and Warcraft 3, okay?
yeah.
They've
Um,
already taken a giant massive dump all over Warcraft 3. I don't need them to do that with making a new game that's even worse. So,
but yeah, the last one though, I would say Sonic Frontiers. I'm actually surprised it's selling really well. I heard it sold like 5 million or something like that. I think Sonic did
it's doing
already.
well. There's a second
Yeah.
game. I think they already said they're working on it. So,
Yep. I'm glad
yep,
they are.
yep. So that's cool. Yeah,
Yes.
for me, I will say The Last of Us part 1 and part 2. That is interesting. The show, the HBO show, which we never did you ever actually finish that?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay, you need to do that so we can talk about it. But
All right.
yeah, that show making an impact here on the charts clearly because The Last of Us Part 2 has not been on the sales charts in a long fucking time on NPD. So,
Yeah.
um the part 1 makes a little bit more sense cuz it just came out in September. And it had been charting pretty consistently. Obviously part of that was due to the show, but also there's a PC version coming out that came out this month or actually, sorry, came out in March, which I would expect to see this game probably again in the MPDs for next month. But
Yeah. Yeah.
did hear that that has actually been doing really poorly though because it was not well optimized. So
Yeah.
but
I feel bad for people who are going to play Last of Us 2. I feel bad for people who can watch season 2 next year or in a couple years.
well, dude, I don't know. I've been thinking about that. This is why I want you to finish the show because I really want to talk about what they're gonna do with part two because they can't do it the way the game did it. There's just I just like they literally can't do that. They will it didn't go well the first time. Let's not double down, right? so so yeah, I think they need to do it significantly differently on television, but we'll see. But yeah, finish the show and we can talk about all that. We don't need to
Okay.
sit on that here. Otherwise, yeah, it is interesting. NBA fell. Well, actually, didn't really fall,
No,
but
I only fell like one slot. Yeah.
yeah, it's just interesting that it's so low compared to FIFA and Madden. Um, but I
Yeah.
guess that's the current situation. Otherwise, Kirby making the list
Yeah.
again.
So
Oh, and
one
yeah,
game
go
I'm
ahead. Sorry.
surprised is
Yeah,
like is Wild Hearts, and we
I was
the
literally
lack of
yeah. I was just about
the
to say
lack of
that.
a other game. I'm looking on the other charts here. Oh, okay. So I do see it here for PlayStation. This looks like, I think PlayStation. Circana best selling games of 2022 so far.
That's overall, so that's for February and January. So yeah, I did want to talk about this. Wild Hearts made came in eighth on the list for February. Obviously, that's its release month. So Monster Hunter Rise was not in the top 20 for February. However, it is higher overall in the year, so that includes January. It's higher than Wild Hearts on the overall list. So, I
But
mean,
Wild Hearts is still number 20 on that
yes, and
list.
Wild Hearts is 20, and Rise is 16 in the overall list. So, um, it'll be interesting to see if Wild Hearts has any staying power on this list, or does it
That's what
completely
I'm
just fall
worried about
off?
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about too. Uh,
but
I think this did scare them a little bit. In my opinion, if you look at this is very scary.
mhm,
Like they're not on the list for February at all.
right. Clearly, there was
So
some impact there. Yeah.
yes. So hopefully that means they get their shit together. I also like to say that there's a typo in the article. So if you look at Monster Hunter Rise, it says the publisher is Sega.
Yeah. Good catch. That's funny. Yeah, but I think it's interesting because we were talking about Capcom's bullshit when you were talking about Devil May Cry, and I think it's something that's starting to pick up steam because I've seen a lot more complaints about this. The release of Rise on Xbox and PlayStation I don't think has gone well, at least from my perspective. I've heard a lot of people complaining about the release of that, and I am not willing to buy the game again. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I would do it if they would let me take my character from PC over. That would be how they would get me to do it. And the fact that they are not supporting that, I just think is such fucking bullshit. Like it's so frustrating because I actually the other day I was like just randomly was like had this I urge in my brain to go see where the game's at, like in terms of title updates and stuff. And I think the final title update is coming out this month. The final one they had announced for Sunbreak. And I'm not sure if we're gonna get more or not, but I was like, because we had been talking about going back once all the updates are out, and we're almost at that point. And I was like, man, maybe we could play some Monster, but it's just I don't know. I mean, it probably not now. It's probably something we'll play in the summer when there's the
Yeah.
lull. But it's like it's just frustrating though because I think I already would have been playing it if they had done the release on console better.
I
But
I can't
yeah,
believe they did this. Like this was the worst release of a Monster Hunter I've ever seen. Of a major AAA game. You had such success with World. I don't understand how you do that for this. And it's like 3 years removed from the pandemic, and I'll give them grace and say 2 years or 1.5 years from the pandemic in Japan,
Right.
where they just start opening everything back up. Um, Even still, I don't get it. This was like one of the worst releases I've ever seen, and then to re-release the game on console and not have it up to par with the PC and Switch version is even worse. You should have
Right.
just they should have just came out the gate and released Sunbreak, or don't release it at all. Like I don't, they're doing double dipping because I don't even think Sunbreak came out yet for console, did it?
It hasn't. No, it's still not out. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then they're not going to be done with their updates until next year.
Yeah, which
Probably.
is insane. I cannot believe they're fucking trying to pull this bullshit with, like, they're trying to have this game have 3 different life cycles. Like, they wanted it on Switch, then they wanted it on PC, then they wanted it on PlayStation and Xbox, and they wanted to have a full live service life cycle on all 3 of them. It's like, what the fuck are you guys doing, man? Like, like, dude, if they had released it with Sunbreak and all the title updates so far, on January, I would have been playing it already. And if I could have transferred my character over, I would have been playing it. Like, all I would be probably still
Well,
be playing it right now. Like,
that's the
it's
advantage of
just,
Wild Hearts. If I can play it right now on PC, and then when you guys get ready, if y'all wanted to play it on a console or something like that, I can
yeah,
transfer my character over to another console. It's cross-platform, so I don't even have to transfer my character. I can
it's
just
cross
play it on
play though.
PC.
Yeah, you could
Yeah, it's
just play it
cross-play.
with
I can just
us,
play it
right?
with y'all,
Which you
and
cannot do with Rise, like, which is
exactly.
crazy. I can't believe that's fucking insane, dude.
Well, it is fucking insane. It's like, why are they not building the infrastructure for a game like this?
Yeah,
And it's really apparent when I played Devil May Cry 5. I don't think they're thinking about shit like this. I think they're trying to get all the money they can. And it's like same old Capcom, but different shit. Like, yeah, you're making way better games, but how come I can't transfer all my data from it goes to
yeah,
the Capcom server? When you
right,
upload your data on Devil May Cry, it goes to the Capcom server. Why can't I just put it on a Devil May Cry 5 special edition?
right.
Same with like Monster Hunter. Like, just do that. If the next Monster Hunter game comes out and it does not have crossplay, they are officially the dumbest company. They lost all credibility.
Yeah,
What they've been trying to build up, because there is
yeah.
no excuse now. I can I can try to excuse it because, like, maybe they didn't anticipate crossplay being a thing, when Rise came out or whatever. So I'm trying to give
That's
them a bit of a
bullshit,
that's
man.
bullshit.
This
It
is
is
it's
bullshit.
been a thing for 5 years. Like, what the fuck?
They,
Like,
they
fucking Fortnite paved the way for this shit already. Like, it's been long dealt with. Like, they're either being lazy or greedy. It's probably both. Like, I don't
Right,
know.
both. Because to be honest with you, there should have been no reason why World at the end of its life cycle didn't unlock crossplay
Right.
at all.
Yeah, right. At the end of its life cycle, right? Like when they were done with everything, like all the
Yes,
releases on PC and console, right?
yes. There should be
Like,
no reason why I shouldn't be able to play with the PC player.
but isn't that too overt though? That would have indicated that they did it purposefully. Like, they waited on purpose. They probably don't want to send
Well,
that
the
message to their
PC
fan
version
base.
did come out after all of the console versions came out, I believe. I want to
It did.
say.
No, it did. But what I'm saying is, if they held it back deliberately and then eventually released it, that means they're admitting that they have the capability to do it, and they just decided not to do it the entire lifespan of the game up to that point. And I think they don't want to send that message to their fan base. So my hope here is that Paradise, the next one, releases with crossplay, and that's their intent. They want to just wait for that,
Hmm.
and maybe it wasn't ready for Rise for whatever reason.
I don't think they're gonna do it with Rise at all.
No,
I
yeah,
don't
I don't.
think
I don't
so.
think Rise is ever gonna have it. No, no, no. That's what I agree with that. I'm saying crossplay on the next game. I think is possible.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
maybe
but
so. If they don't do it,
but there's also no
yeah,
reason for the game to not be day and date with PC, whatever platforms it's coming on. Like,
yeah,
that bullshit also needs to end. They need to stop doing that too.
yeah. I agree.
Because yeah,
I don't know.
because yeah, they're treating PC like second class citizens, and I hate that. you know, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's their company. I mean, I know they're making a lot of money right now, but I don't think players are gonna go for it. Like in this Rise, I saw people play it. I saw people buy it too who had it priced on PC, but they didn't have it on PC. They had it on Switch, so they bought it on their consoles. But like me and you, we just was like, "Fuck it, we're gonna buy the PC version," and we did.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. It's just, and then even once Rise came out, I saw people play it for like a week, and then everybody just dropped it. So
Right.
it's like, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just
we
not a good.
played
I don't think it's a
what
good game. I don't think
what did
Rise
we
is a
do?
good game.
We played pre Sunbreak for like a month straight because we needed to level characters, right?
Yeah.
I remember that. And then we played Sunbreak for maybe 3 weeks after it came out, and then we dropped it, all of us.
No, we played it for about a good month.
A month?
About a
Okay,
good,
it might have been a full
mo-
month. Still, that's
yeah.
not a lot though, dude. You remember Iceborne? We talk about this shit all the time, man. Like dude, that I compare that to what happened with Sunbreak. Sunbreak is a laughing stock in
Even
comparison, like
Generations, we
with
went
us.
hard. We were playing
Dude,
Generations of a
we
lunch.
went hard on, yeah, totally went hard on Generations, bro. We were at work, like on our lunch break, all meeting in the cafeteria to play that game. Like we were fucking psychos, man. Like, but it was super fun, and I just Sunbreak just didn't have it, man. Like it just has not had it the whole time.
Yeah, it's and the worst part is we convinced our friends to get that game. And it just
Twice.
it twice. And it just even the Sunbreak and with all the additions they added, which to be honest was like not that much. But I'm
Compared to
being
other
very
Monster Hunters, it was not. Yeah.
yeah, compared to other Monster Hunters, it was not that much. Like
Yeah.
I won't even compare it to the old ones. I would just say compared to fucking Iceborne, it was like night and day. Like Iceborne out the gate, I want to say they dropped like 20 monsters, at least 20 to
It
30
was, dude,
monsters.
it was bonkers. It was
And
bonkers.
variants, they had different variants of monsters that were existing monsters and everything.
Yeah.
This one, they had like a couple of I don't even think they had a couple of variants. I think they
They
only had like
did. They
one
had a
variant.
couple. They had they
A
had they
couple?
had
Okay.
they had what I would call 3 or 4 subspecies, because that's what was missing out of Rise Sunbreak was subspecies. Remember, Gold Rathian and Silver Rathalos did not launch with the expansion. They came out in future updates, and that's what all the title updates so far have been subspecies of existing monsters. I don't know if they've added one new monster
I
since
think they
Sunbreak
did.
came out.
I think they added one new monster.
One.
One or two. One or
Okay.
two.
Great. One. Wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Awesome. Like it's to like I'm gonna be honest. Maybe this is an unfair expectation, and we've had this conversation about Pokemon, right?
No,
Like,
no, that's not an unfair expectation. I'm sorry.
well,
No,
they
it's
set
not.
the bar. They set their own bar,
Exactly.
right?
They set the
And
bar.
yeah, I no, I agree. I'm just saying they've created the same conundrum that Nintendo has with Pokemon, though, where they've added so many monsters at this point that it's unrealistic to expect them all in one game now.
Yeah,
And
I say it's different from Nintendo though, right? I can understand the animations and stuff like that. I'm even giving them grace from the previous generation monsters because you had those are that's a whole older system, older engine, older
yeah,
animations and all that stuff. I get that, right? What I don't understand is why are monsters from Iceborne still missing? Like now they
right.
added to Iceborne. I think the Vakana, I think that's her
Oh, that
name.
was the one they added. They did add the
Yeah.
Velcana from Iceborne.
Yeah, they
Yes.
just added Velcana to Iceborne. So I
Yep.
think they added that, and I think I want to say I'm giving them grace. I think they added a variant of that as well. Um, but why are like there's so many other monsters I think that are missing from Iceborne that are not fucking uh on fucking
On Rise. Yeah.
Rise, and
Yeah.
it's
No,
like
no, totally, dude.
that's
It's
the same engine, you know? Like that's
yeah,
the same. I mean, some things have changed, but like the animations are almost the same and everything like that. I mean, yeah, the mounting mechanic and all the other bullshit like that, you gotta adjust for that. But it's like it's the same, like almost engine. So and
well,
I want to say
yeah,
Monster Hunter is $1 billion franchise at this point. Like I know it's so buttloads of it in Japan and
yeah,
it's so really well over here. So I even say multi-million-dollar franchise at this point. There's no excuse why we don't have more people working on this game. Like if you want this
yeah.
to be your flagship game, you know what I'm saying? So
Well, so this is what we've gotten so far. The first title update had um 4 monsters: Silver Rathalos, Gold Rathian, a Nargacuga variant, and
Mm,
a Basilgoose subspecies. And then it had the second title update had 3 monsters: an Espinas subspecies, which is a new monster to the game, but it's a subspecies of a monster they added with Sunbreak launch,
yeah.
a Mizutsune subspecies, and a Chameleos subspecies. And then there were 3 in the third title update added: a Kushala Diora subspecies, a Teostra subspecies, and I can't tell what the third one is, but it's another Elder Dragon, I believe. And then this last one that just came out, they added Velkhana, which is the first new monster they've added, like
Okay.
a new monster to the game. And then Crimson Glow Valstrax, which Valstrax was in the game, right? Was in the base game, and they have just now adding a subspecies for G rank that, like, there was no Valstrax in G rank up until this point, and it was already in the fucking game. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on at Capcom? Like, what? Like,
It's the
dude,
monster
it's
team.
fucking bizarre. And the last title update for this month is a quote returning Elder Dragon and a powered up monster. That's what they have as the tease right now.
Oh my god,
So
fucking
yeah,
terrible. Not to mention the armor sets look fucking horrendous on
yeah,
them females, at least.
yeah.
Uh,
I know we both gender swapped. So bad it looked.
I don't know,
uh,
man. That game just is. And then I don't really like. I think they toned down for what I went on the Reddit like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and I
mhm.
think they toned down the anomalies. I think they toned those down because people were complaining about that shit.
Well,
Like that shit is a fucking
I'd say that's a good thing. Those were annoying as hell. I
yeah,
hated those.
yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I
Um,
want to go back and play it more
I do
deeply
too.
because we didn't really go that far with it.
It's
But
just
there's a
it
reason
just
why,
it
though.
just got
Like,
boring, man. Like especially when the
yeah,
anomalies started hitting, you're
dude,
like,
the
ugh.
anomaly monsters were so dumb. I hated the game when I was playing it, fighting those. Like, trying to fight those by yourself was so obnoxious, man.
At
Like,
least I will say I know the clutch claw was bad, and there are people. See, this is what I hate about like how far are we in? Oh, we got a couple minutes. I mean we don't have a time limit, but I try to borrow so that like 2 hours.
we don't like to
But
go. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, but this is what I hate about fan bases. When they experience something bad, they immediately go back to what it's old and they think that
Hmm.
old is good. And it's like, no, it wasn't. Clutch Claw was fucking terrible. The idea of it was really fucking cool.
Yeah,
The implementation of it with the weak points and all that shit, even though me and Justin had like a psychic mind, a fucking we were like fucking on par. We even had to talk to each
yeah.
other. We just knew what to do
Right,
with certain
right.
monsters.
Yeah.
Um
No, yeah, Montrell would do it, and then I would like combo off of him after he would like knock him into a wall, and the second they got up, I would do it. You know, it was like
yeah.
fucking no, it was a mind meld. It was bonkers.
But like that was a bad system, right? Um but the monsters weren't they had too much HP to accommodate for that.
Yeah,
But the anomalies are just fucking stupid. Like they're legitimately just fuck. You can't clutch claw to a certain part. The anomaly little bugs will go in. Like say they'll go in the fucking Azuros's arm or whatever. So you got to
yeah.
fucking hit that arm. If you don't hit the arm within the time limit, he fucking turns
Well,
into a nuke.
yeah, he literally explodes, and like, dude, the problem is certain weapons can't hit certain parts of certain monsters. You know,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
really difficult to do, and it's fucking dumb, bro. It's just so annoying. You know, like when the little spot pops up and it's on like a fucking like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example, like fucking I don't know, like uh Anjanat's fucking tail. You know, because it's
Yeah,
like super high in the air. Like certain weapons can't fucking hit it. Like they literally can't hit the tail, bro. Like, you know, and it's like I don't know. They just it's fucking it's frustrating. Like,
yeah.
um,
Oh, and God forbid the spot is on a fucking Tigrex's face. Like, good
oh my
luck.
Jesus Christ, yeah, man. Oh my God, just quit. Don't even fight Kyrex. Actually, fuck that, bro. Like, dude, or put it on one of the claws or something. Like, you know, fucking God, dude. Yeah,
That monster is so fucking obnoxious. But yeah, like I don't know, the anomalies weren't just I just think overall, like the game was a fun ride until the anomaly shit happened. And I was
Yeah,
just like, this is not fun. Like, I would
yeah,
rather you just have like a little bit beefed up monsters or like, more uh they can just hit harder. But they always gotta put a little fucking gimmick in the game. I don't know why they feel the need to do that. Like
to
they
do
always
it.
gotta put a gimmick in the
A
game. Like,
gimmick, yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I just want to say, Tiger X, all I do, dual blades with the speed, the arch demon mode that's speed based. I fuck him up. The motherfucker doesn't even hit me, man. Like, so all the bullshit we talk about Tiger X, he's a little bitch. Dual blades, man. I got him on fucking lock. You know, that's the counter.
mhm.
Bow, hell no, I'm not fighting that motherfucker with a bow. It's a nightmare. But yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, man. We'll see. I I don't even know what I expect out of Paradise, because Paradise is like the sequel of World, probably. So it should be on par with that level of production value. And I just really hope there's some significant strides with that game, in a way that I just don't think Rise did. Rise, like, I think movement in Rise is better than it's ever been for the series, but that's like the one thing they did. Everything else I feel like is a step back, you know, um, or it's on par with what they did with World. It's like, um, so I'm just hoping for something significant with Paradise, but I think I'm not gonna be fulfilled in that. So
Yeah, it's gonna be bad. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be bad, but I think I'm not gonna buy it for the first year. I'm just gonna
okay,
wait.
20 monsters, over under 20 monsters for Paradise when it comes out.
That's what it said.
No, I'm asking you. What do you think? Because
Oh,
Rise came out with like 20. I want to say 25 it launched with, or something like that.
oh yeah, they're definitely gonna go less. They're gonna do like 20 monsters. I I would be so surprised if they just came out and was like, "Oh, we got 40 fucking monsters with variants," and I'm like, "All right,
Yeah.
maybe I'll play." But I don't know. I think they would have to really sell me for me to buy it on first day. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean the gameplay is obviously gonna be really good, but it's like you have to really sell me and be like, I don't know. I don't know,
Hmm.
man.
Yeah.
just I'm just gonna wait. That's just what it is. I'm gonna stick by my word and just wait.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. All right. Well, I think we'll call it there for the week. Unless I think you did have something you want to talk about. Do you still want to talk about it, or
I forgot at this point.
don't remember? All right. Perfect. You got to write these things in the outline, man. That is what it's for, but that's okay. I think we've had a pretty good episode this week here. So, all right. Well, everybody, thank you for listening. If you like this episode, please like the episode, subscribe, review the episode, and subscribe to the show, if you can, on whatever feed you're listening to it on. And if you can, please share it with your friends. If you want to interact with us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at ThunderNut01, and the show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And that is going to be it for us, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you next week. Bye.